Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. Today, we're going to be doing a submission response with Airtable and with Make.com. This is the first time I've ever done it live. So, please forgive me if, I'm not saying anything, if I'm not talking perfect or anything. So, first, in order to be able to follow along with this, there's three applications that you're going to need. Two if you want to use your regular email, but for the sake of this demonstration, we'll use three. The first one is going to be make.com. I've included all three links below in the description. So if you do have any questions, feel free to click them there. And actually, I don't think I put them there. So let me put them there for y'all real quick. Give me 1 second. Let's see. Make.com. Yes, I am an affiliate. So if you do use my links, I would greatly appreciate it. Here is the Make.com link. Airtable, I just get a free. It's like $10 in credit, but still, anything helps. So we'll go ahead and tell a friend. Copy this, and go ahead and put this in here as well. And then Mailgun, I am not an affiliate, so you can go ahead and sign up there. So all three of these are what you will need for the demonstration. We'll go ahead and start at Airtable. So once you have Airtable, what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and create a new base. So we'll go ahead and hit create. Now it'll ask you, where do you want to start? Build an app with AI or start from scratch? We are going to go ahead and start from scratch. So we'll go ahead and click here. Now we can go ahead and title this. It'll be submission. So submission form. And you can pick any color you want right here. It doesn't too much matter. And then for the table, we will also call it, we'll call this, form submission as well. So Airtable is essentially a database solution. It's a codeless database solution that allows you to store data. The free version actually allows you to have up to 1,000 entries per base. So just make sure that if you do want to remain in that free version, that you're doing something to output the people at the end of this, and either download it into an Excel, or if you don't need the information, just delete it altogether. For this one, leads, I would probably keep it in there. So first thing, this one right here, I do like to keep this as a unique field, just because there's not going to be too many people, well, one, it's an ID, and two, I'm going to use the last name because there's not going to be too many people that do have the last name. So we'll go ahead and put last name here. Second one, we'll go ahead and put first name. And what we are doing right now is we are creating the actual form that people are going to use for submission, in case you're wondering. So this will be a single line text. Next thing is going to be that we're going to need to create is email. Now, they actually on Airtable do validation fields. So we can just go ahead and type email, and we'll see that it pops up right here. We can create that field. I also want to do phone, so phone number, and we'll search for that as well. So we'll type in phone number, and then in order to put these where you want them, all you need is drag and drop. And then the next thing that we want to do is the actual service or whatever you want to do for this form that you're trying to get them to put. So for me, I like to do this multiple select, but the single select is probably what you're more used to whenever you're seeing a just a normal form. But let's go ahead and do multiple selects. It's a little bit cooler. So here we'll call this one. We'll just say what services are you interested in. And then right here, add option. We'll go ahead and click. For the first one, let's say my services. So managed IT. And of course, I'm not going to be able to spell because I'm doing this live. Second one, we'll say, 24/7 help desk. Third one, we will say, SaaS or software. Fourth one, let's go ahead and do VoIP, internet services. And you can really have as many as you want to right here. And we'll go ahead and hit create. Now, the status field, we'll probably use this, maybe not. We'll need to see. Now, whenever you're connecting Airtable with Make, you are going to need a like a last modified, or there's one other one you can do. We'll do a modified field. So, okay, so we'll call it last modified. And then we will do a last modified time right here. This is just really to help Make keep track of what you're doing. So it's really important to have it, but it's really not important for the sake of the actual form itself. So we'll go ahead and create this field. Now, just to show you kind of what in here it's going to look like, we'll go ahead and just do a manual field. So we'll do my last name, first name, email, phone number. We will assign it to myself. Status, we haven't got in here and changed this yet. Just like all the other ones, it's editable right here. So we'll go ahead and put in progress just for the sake of this one right here. And then what services are you interested? We'll say what, managed IT 24/7. And you'll see this is where that multiple select really comes in handy. Now, Airtable by default, they give you a total of three, I guess, blank fields. We'll go ahead and delete all three of those. Now, the second thing that we're going to do is actually create the form. So you'll see at the top that it says forms. We'll go ahead and click here. Now it says build your first form here. We'll go ahead and hit new form. This will take us to a form submission. And then of course, we'll just call it, submission form. And this, this is an example. So you can call this anything you want. Now we'll go ahead and create the form. And then we'll see that we can do some things like drag and drop. We want to drag that first name above the last name. It just looks better. It's still going to be mapped the exact same way, but we'll see that first name, it always looks a little bit better when it's coming before the last. So we just want it like that. So now we have first name, last name, email, phone number. We don't want status to show there. So we will remove this. And then we have what services are you interested in? Perfect. So, and then of course a submit. So now that we are here, we will go ahead and publish the form. Once we publish this form, since this one is going to be a submission form for anyone that is anyone that's on the web, anyone that you're trying to get a lead from, we are going to put this one as anyone on the web. However, you can do only users with base access. This is going to be just anyone that you have already given access to in the base. And then anyone at a domain, this is of course like for business users. So this would be anyone at your business domain. So we'll go ahead and copy the link. And then we will see that if we put this into a browser, that we are now going to get that Airtable form that we just now created, back in Airtable. So let's go ahead and verify that this works. So we will do, we'll just make up a name, Daniel Miller. His email will be dmiller. And let's try to do something that's not an email. Let's see if that works for the validation form. And then 055 525. There we go, 515.2. And then what services are you interested in? We'll just put, of course, any of the services. This is what I was saying about the multiple select. They can actually come in here and enter any of the fields that they're interested in instead of just one, one service. Now, with this, you're really able to tailor for like lead generation, for anything that you're doing a form for. So it is why I use that multiple select instead of just the single select. So right here, we'll go ahead and hit submit, and we will see that this should have submitted a Airtable row. So we'll come back here to home, go into submission form, and then we can see here that Daniel Miller is here. It did not validate the email address. It did not put in an assignee. It did not add a status. All of that is okay. We're actually going to be automating that in Make if we want to. So now that we have our form, let's go ahead and say, what happens once this form is submitted, and go ahead and, move on to the automation part. So for the automation part, we will go to make.com. Now, we've already been building out this email app right here. This email app, we are going to give away 100% free for people that are, I guess, just requesting quotes through MLE Solutions. So, make sure that you are requesting a quote for services. Feel free to check out our website. It's mlesoul.com. And, just submit a request, and we will give away this full email, this full email outreach for free. So right here, since we just did that form, we are going to create a new scenario. Now, whenever you are in here for the first time, it is going to ask you to make an OAuth connection with these different applications, or in addition to OAuth, it may ask for an API key. Now, if you have any questions about where to find those things, how to do those things, feel free to just put it in the comments. It's perfectly fine, and we will make sure to help you. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to put on a watch records. Now, what this watch records is going to do, it is actually going to watch as the submission form is put into Airtable, and it is going to tell make.com to start doing a process. So first, let's go ahead and choose the base. For this example, we'll see that submission form is already here. We'll see that the table that we created for form submission is right here. And then we'll see that trigger field. So that's what I was talking about, why you need that last modified. So that actually is what triggers this watch record form. Now, the rest of it, limit, this is how many, how many entries you want to deal with at one time. For example, if there's, 1,000 people that put in the submission request all at the same, do you want to email 1,000 people? Do you want to only do one request at a time? Or, how do you want to do it? Now, for the sake of this example, we can actually just leave it at 10. It's really not going to matter. But there's some, for my email outreach that I actually have 100. And then there's some that I only process, a single request. So this one right here, it doesn't too much matter. Now, also, guys, I see a couple more people are joining. If you have any questions at all, please make sure to enter it in the comments. Ask any questions you have, IT related, automation related, any questions that you guys have. Now, since we've done this, we are going to go ahead and accept that. Okay. Label field. We'll do label field by first name. And that's the ID field. So that's why in that first column that you do want something that is unique, or at least mostly unique. So that is why we put that last name field first right here. So now we'll go ahead and click OK. And then we'll do from now on, which is OK. And we will go ahead and run this module only. Now we will see that 2 bundles came through. So the first bundle was the one that I entered here. And then the second bundle was the one that was processed through the submission form. So we know that it's working. Now, a bundle is essentially, it's just a complete form entry. So for every form entry that you have, every row that you have on Airtable, you're going to have exactly 1 bundle that goes with that. Now, since we already have this, we'll go ahead and click out, and then we'll go ahead and click add another module. Now, for this module, since we want to send out an email once a record has been submitted, we will go ahead and enter the Mailgun here. So we'll see Mailgun, send a message. So we'll go ahead and click this. So now what this is doing, this is watching for a form submission via Airtable. And then once that form submission is done, that is going to send it to Mailgun in order for us to send an email. Now, right here, we'll go ahead and choose we'll choose my domain, mlesolutions.com, mlesol. Make sure to check out my website, and make sure to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. It really helps. Now, for templates, they're not free. So we'll go ahead and leave those out of this example, because I want to make sure that we can give y'all as many automations completely free that you can go set up and are immediately useful to your business. So the next thing that we'll do is we will do types of recipient. So you can have mailing lists in Mailgun. I'm not going to go through that today. What we're going to do is a specific email address. And then we will do from, and then we'll just do, example at mlesol.com. It doesn't matter what you put here. It is going to kind of send out a spoof email if you've already set up your domain in Mailgun. So you can put anything right here and it'll send it from your domain. Just make sure that you either have a shared mailbox set up or something that whenever someone replies to example, that it is actually going somewhere. You don't want that email to just be, replied back and it not actually go anywhere. So subject, we'll put, thank you for requesting a meeting, or, something along the lines of that. It really is whatever you want to put here. Now, second, for the format of the email, you have 2 separate options. The first one is HTML, where you can actually write out just a full HTML, I guess just a document, a note, a HTML doc. And, once this is written out, you can just paste it directly into here, and it will send out these beautiful created templates that you have created, in that HTML format. Now, if you're not familiar with HTML, I'm not going to go over that today, but if y'all need some assistance, I can show you guys exactly where to get this information from. Just make sure to, ask in the comments and I'll get that done for you. Now, for the example today, we'll do text. Text is exactly what it says. It is just sending a text message, or not a text message, but a text format email. So we will say in this one, hello, and then we want to add a variable here. So hello, first name, okay? And all you have to do in Make is click that variable, and now whenever somebody enters a submission, it is going to say hello, and then their first name. So it is very customizable, and we're not just sending out just a broad email to people. Now, the second thing that we can do, we can add more fields in here. So, for example, company, we can add, just different things. So whenever we go in and enrich our data, we can just add as much as we want to. And I'll actually show y'all an example at the very end of completely enriched data and, how we can use that for analysis. So, hello, first name, this message is a test. So we are going to go ahead and it looks like this is good. You can add an attachment here. Now, I know a lot of people like to add attachments. I typically will not do it in a form submission email, and I will not do it in a email outreach email. And the reason for that is if it's getting through, that means that they probably don't have someone like me, a managed service provider, that is using, essentially, an email, just an email software to, really protect people against that. So, hello, first name, this message is a test. So we will go ahead and click OK. Oh, and 2. So 2 right here. Now we'll need to actually specify that this is coming from an email. Now, once we've done that, we can go ahead and click OK. But you may notice something. Right now, we only have this set up to process one Airtable request and one Mailgun request. So let's go ahead and split this. So we'll unlink it. Now, what we can do is we can actually do a flow control, and then we can do an iterator. And let's see. So even here, we'll see that it only shows that one bundle. So we have to go even a step further. Let's unlink this, create one more flow control, and then we will do an array aggregator. So this will make my bundles for me, essentially. So we'll go ahead and select all. We'll press OK, and then we will come into here. And now we have something that is going to split the Airtable bundles. It is in an array aggregator. So it's going to take all of those bundles, and it's going to spit it out into our iterator one by one. So we'll take this here, and then we will say, let's see, array. Yep. So we want the full array right here, and then we'll press OK. So now let's disconnect this because we don't want to send that yet. But let's go ahead and just run this once. So run once. We didn't get any output. That's fine. So what we'll do is we'll come to form submission, and then we will just make an edit. And the reason we made that edit is because it changes that last modified. So it's not going to let anything come through just multiple times. So now we've made that edit, and then we can run once, run anyways. And we'll see that now it has processed that form from Airtable in that watch function. It has aggregated that bundle down to a single bundle. It has then given it to the iterator, and then the iterator will send it through the rest of our automation. So we'll see here, bundle 1. It's exactly how we want it to look so that we know everything is working through these 3 modules now. Now, we'll actually go ahead and just run a test here as well. So what we'll do is we will go ahead and right-click this. We'll say run this module only. You'll see it's going to ask for 2 things, and that's the 2 things that we specified that are needed when we were setting up the module. So here, we'll just put in my work email. And then here, we'll put in Dylan. So we'll press OK, and then we'll see that this request has been processed to send an email. Now, once this request has been processed, we should actually receive the email pretty quick. Let me look out for it real quick so I can show you guys. Yep. And just like that, we have received an email from example@mlesoul.com. Hi, Dylan. This is a test. And we haven't done anything with the unsubscribe link yet. So you're really just getting a raw data unsubscribe link. And, what that's going to do, it's in order to, abide by email outreach standards. If you are reaching out to someone, you do have to include that. So just make sure that you're, doing that. Make sure you're following those rules. That way, you don't get in trouble. So now we have done these 4 things. And now you may say, okay, well, how do I actually keep track of that? How do I set up reporting in this? So what we'll do is we're going to go ahead and create another module. Now, we can do Airtable, and then we can actually do all of these things to a field. So search, get a record, create a record, update a record. Now, if we want to update a record, what we can do is we can actually say, okay, back to that submission form. And then we're going to do the form submission base. And then we'll see down here, we actually have that status. Now we can unmap this and then move it to done. So now, whenever someone, also that record ID, we need to make sure we get that. Record ID is going to be that, let me see, ID here. Go ahead and click OK. So now what will happen is whenever this runs, a form will come in, it'll be submitted. It will be aggregated to single bundles that will be iterated through Mailgun so that it'll send up to 10 form submission emails to different people at one time. It will then update the record so that this form right here goes from in progress to done. And then we now have these, these beautiful fields right here. Now, one of the things that you want to do with the status field that I haven't done yet, you actually want to put a default option. So if someone puts or submits a form, we want to make sure that we look out for in progress. So we can do that. And then anytime a form is submitted, it'll go to that in progress, for that row. And then, make.com is going to go ahead and update that record for us to that done once it has sent out a form submission email. Now, there may be some other things that you want to do. Now, this email has been sent, yes, but you could add a Zoom link here so that they can immediately request a meeting with you once they have submitted that form. Make that sales funnel a little bit better. We can, put different things in here. Actually reach out. Put in a, a CRM update here. So if you use HubSpot, Zendesk, anything like that, we could actually create a ticket that is entered once that form has been submitted. Make.com really has so many possibilities to do that. It's really sky's the limit for it. So now that we have completed this, I'm actually going to show you how to move it now from form submission. And then what we're going to do is, well, let's duplicate this one actually, because it's going to be the same fields. So let's duplicate this table. And then I don't want to duplicate the records because that'll copy everything from here. We want this to be kind of a new form. So let's go ahead and rename that. And let's name this one, completed. Now, whenever you're in Make, you may notice that Airtable does not have the ability to move a record. Now, not having the ability to move a record could seem like an issue, but essentially what we need to do to move a record is two things. So first, we need to create a new record, and then we need to delete a record. So first, we'll create the record, and then we will go to the base submission form that we were setting up for this example. And then we will go to the table completed. So now we're creating a record. And then we're going to map directly back to the iterator. So last name, we'll click here for last name. First name, we're going to click here, first name. Email, email. Phone number, phone number. We're just mapping back these variables so that anytime a new variable is submitted, it's not hard-coded to just accept, one thing. It is now, it's not going to do everything. So unique user ID, we don't need to do that. This is the assignee records. This, if you want to do an assignee, like, for me, I could put myself as an assignee and it would assign myself every time. And then, of course, status here, we want to put to, let's say to do. And then after this, we want to delete a record. So now, since we wanted to move the record, we're actually going to, one, create a record in the second table, and then two, delete the record in the first table. So we'll go to the form submission, the record ID. So we will go to here, and then we'll do record ID and put OK. So now we have this full workflow. Now, just walking you through it, and we can actually hit this airplane to explain the flow, so it'll show you how it'll work. So we'll have someone submit a form entry. It will go through an array aggregator, which will separate it into specific bundles. The iterator will then take the form submissions and it will submit each one to the following flow. Now, the reason that you want to use an iterator is because if you try to push an entire array or multiple bundles, as Mick calls them, through something like Mailgun, it's not going to be able to accept all 10 of the entries. It may just do one entry, or it may error out. Now, that's that's another question. What if it errors out, right? So what if, there was an issue where, in this form submission, someone did not enter an email correctly. Okay, so if this were to be sent through Mailgun, we would see, okay, there's going to be an error. So let's go ahead and demonstrate that. So we'll change that to Miller. So now we can run through this flow. So we'll run the flow once to see what happens, and boom, we reach that error. So we'll see that it's a 400, 2 parameters missing because it's not in that correct email pattern. Now, this, as you'll notice, it stopped the entire flow because we don't have any error handlers yet, which essentially means that if there was 10 entries and one person did not submit that entry and they were number 1 or 2, then the rest of the people are not going to be processed, which it's no good. So what we'll do is we will go ahead and right click on send an email, and then we will say add a error handler. And then there's a couple things that we could do, break, commit, ignore, resume, roll back. So in this case scenario, what we could do is just ignore. And what that means is it's not going to push the rest here. It is now going to just say, hey, this one entry is bad. Let's continue to the next entry. And that iterator is going to push through the rest of the workflow. So now at the end of any workflow, what you'll want to do is hit save. So we have now saved a workflow. This first workflow, as we said, this will do a form submission that will submit to Airtable, and then it will go ahead and pick that up in the watch record. It'll send it through the array aggregator, so separate the bundles, send each bundle separately through, and then boom. So let's go ahead and actually just make these all new bundles, right? So, and then let's do one more form submission. Remember, we haven't activated our workflow to work automated yet. So we still have to activate it manually, which is why we'll do this one more time. So we'll put test, and then we'll put this one, we'll make it my, just my work email again. And then here, for phone number, and then what services are you interested in? So again, this is the multiple select versus the single select. They can come in here now and do multiple select, and then we'll go ahead and hit submit. Now, whenever we come to Airtable, we see this third row entry. It's already here. It's now saved in progress. Now, remember, we haven't activated our flow yet. So we'll go ahead and just run this, and it's going to run all 3 entries. We should have 2 that are sent and then sent to completed, and we should have 1 that is now aired out. So we will go ahead and say run once. Boom. So Airtable sent all 3. It looks like we ran into an issue. Error 400. It's missing. Oh, email. Okay, boom. So right there, mistake, first name. Boom. That's because we added in that iterator. So now let's go ahead and just fix that real quick. So boom, new variable. Boom. Hello, and this is going to be first name. So first name. So hello, first name. This is a test. Okay. Now, if we rerun this, it's not going to rerun it all the way through because guess what? We already ran through. So we would have to change the entries a bit. And now they're all new entries again. So we can go ahead and run again for our test. And we'll see, boom, they're going through. And just as we expected, we had 2 that went through the entire workflow, and we had 1 that was ignored due to a bad email. So whenever we come back, we'll see, oh, these 2 fields are gone. Exactly, because we have, with that create a record and delete a record, now move these records to a separate worksheet. So now, we are completely done with this example on, how to create a automated submission. Now, for everyone that did, watch this whole video, I am going to show you something a little bit cooler, and that's how can we use ChatGPT in order to customize the emails. And what we'll do is we will, stretch this out a little bit because we still need this array aggregator and iterator, and then we're going to unlink these 2. So now we're going to go ahead and use that ChatGPT function. So OpenAI, ChatGPT, and you can have the assistant if you have it, but for the example, we're just going to do, create a completion. So we've now created this, and then we want to say, okay, what model do we want? So these are the system models. You'll see this is the dates that they were released. The mini is the free one I want to say right now. So let's use ChatGPT 4.0, the newest one, right? And then the max tokens. So the API is a paid feature. So if you are using the ChatGPT API, this is going to be a paid thing right here. So we'll use 1024, which is enough to write a decent email. So, and then message, we'll say role, we'll say user, and then message content. So we'll say write a email for first name. They have submitted a form, interested in, and then we can go to that multiple select. So we can say interested in, what services are you interested in? And then ask them to, your task is to set an appointment with the following link. And then right here, you can put in like your Zoom link, your Zoom link, your Microsoft Bookings link, really any link that you want to put here, and it's going to go ahead and customize an email. Now, we don't have too many fields here, so we'll see that the customization isn't going to be crazy. It's just going to be a basic customized email that feels natural. So, also we'll say that, right? So we'll say, link. We'll say test link, and then we'll say make it feel natural. Okay, so boom, we're going to go ahead and press OK, and then let's go ahead and turn this on. Let's go ahead and set this to 1 minute intervals because we want this to happen, just completely automated, right? We want to, have this come in and, boom. So now let's go ahead and delete these 2, delete all selected. Oh, that's completed. Oops. Well, it's okay. We'll delete this one too. And then we want to run this entire flow to now see if it works. So we're going to go email, and then what we're going to say is subject, thank you for a meeting. And then instead of putting this text here, we're simply just going to put the result. And this may be crazy, and you may actually have to work on it a little bit, but just for the sake of the example, let's see what happens. All right. So we have, this is going to be sent from my domain from 2 specific email addresses. It's going to send it to their email. It is going to be from example@mlesoul.com. Thank you for requesting a meeting is going to be the subject line. We are doing a text versus HTML format, and this is going to print out the ChatGPT email that we're creating. So go ahead and press OK. And then just so it doesn't look crazy, we'll go ahead and align it right there. And then let's go ahead and do our first form submission with all of the automations activated. And let's see if our automation is working. So first name, Dylan, Emily, email, phone number. What services are you interested in? And then let's go ahead and submit this form. Now, we may have to wait a couple of minutes because remember we set it on a 1 minute check. But while we're waiting on that automation to go through, we can come here and we can see, okay, boom, that was entered as expected. So let's go ahead and wait for that email to come in. It should come in any minute now. Let me see. Boom. So that's 345. We're waiting for a 351. Let's see. Actually, we're waiting for a 352 since we waited a minute. And, thank you everyone for being in here. Please make sure to like and subscribe. It really helps me out. It really gives me the ambition to keep on doing these. So, please like, follow, subscribe. It really helps me out. So we will see. Let's see if this has gone through. And what we're waiting for is for this to disappear and move to completed. So we will see. It's still here. Oh, did I turn this on? Yeah, I did. So it should any minute now. Okay, let's see if it's run. Okay, still waiting on it to run on 1 minute intervals. Sorry about that. Maybe I forgot to say. We'll see. And we are still waiting on the complete automation to take place. So what we have done is we have submitted a form entry here. Oh, not here. Form entry here. It has gone into our form submission into Airtable, and we are waiting for this Airtable integration in order to take place so that it sends an example email, which should take place every 1 minute. So we'll see. Boom. Now, this entry has disappeared. It has now moved to our completed field, and then we will see that the automation is working. And we do, like I said, we need to do a little bit of tinkering because right here, it did add a subject line. We already had a subject. So, we need to make sure and go ahead to tinker the ChatGPT a little bit more. And then we'll see, hi, Dylan, thank you for reaching out and submitting the form expressing your interest in managed services, 24/7 help desk support, and SaaS solutions, which are the 3 that I put in that multiple select form. We're excited to learn more about your needs and discuss how we can assist your organization effectively. I'd love to set up a time for us to chat in more detail about what you're looking for and how our services can meet your needs. Please feel free to pick a time that works best for you using this link, test link. Now, we didn't actually give it a link. All we did was say test link. So that means that's working correctly. If you have any specific questions or topics you'd like to cover during our meeting, feel free to let me know in advance. I'm here to ensure we make the most of our conversation. Wow, that's a pretty impressive message for giving it, 1 line of input, at least I would say. So looking forward to speaking with you. Best regards. And then as we can see, whenever we come in here, your name, your position, your company, your contact information, which means these are all things that we're going to need to feed into the input in that ChatGPT section. So right here, we can come in and say, okay, I needed to add that this is for MLE Solutions. The signature is Dylan Emily, CEO, just put the signature in a little, a few other things. So we have now verified that this entire automation works. What we have done in this video, just a quick recap. We have set up a Airtable submission form. We have set up the database that we're going to be using for the form submission, and then moving that to completed once the form has been submitted. And then we'll have this create a ticket going to a salesperson in order for them to be able to reach back out, set the meeting, do any kind of follow-up that's needed. We have set up an automation. The automation watches that submission form. It separates each of the submissions into bundles. It then iterates these bundles through ChatGPT to create a unique email. It then sends the email through Mailgun. If there is an incorrect email or anything, we now have an error handler that's going to not let those stop our workflow. It's going to update a record saying that it's been completed. It is going to essentially move a record. And the way that we move a record is by creating a record in completed and then deleting a record in form submission. So, that's it for today. Thank you guys so much for being here. Make sure to like and subscribe. I will be posting this video on, our page probably a little bit later today. I just needed to edit out that first 20 minutes where we were waiting on people to join. Thank you everyone for joining. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate you being here and, giving me your time. So thank you. Have a good day. Make sure to ask any questions that you have in the chat, and we will talk to you soon.